I believe you need to be as comfortable as possible when you're sitting down to game, create content, work, etc. And by getting an Ewin Racing gaming chair, it will improve your experience. I've used their chairs for years and I can vouch. Right now, they have a massive collection of chairs in different sizes and colors. Don't wait. Head on over to ewinracing.com and save an extra 25% using the code GEEKDOM, my name, on any purchase on ewinracing.com. Remember, the code is GEEKDOM. Check it out. Warner Brothers Discovery and New Line Cinema present Shazam Fury of the Gods, directed by David F. Sanberg, returning from directing the first Shazam film, the sequel to that movie from back in 2019. It's in theaters right now. I just got done watching the movie, and I'm going to give you my review of the film here today on this video. No spoilers, but I will say this. If you tuned into my spoiler video that I put out about this movie before there was even a trailer, I think it was in 2021 when I put that out, or maybe early 2022 here on World of Geekdom. To quote the great Scott Hall, one more for the good guys, because that's yet another film that I've given you all the exclusive scoop on before anybody else had it, before there was even a trailer, and I nailed it. And the reason as to why I'm even saying that, it's not to gloat, it's because when you hear things about this movie and then you actually see the movie, there's absolutely no way that I could have quote unquote lucky guessed it when it came to the spoilers for this movie, because this movie is so over the top in every way you could think of. And there are things that happen in the movie that are just so ridiculous. I'm already knowing that this is going to be a very polarizing film. So what I'm going to do here with my review is, the purpose of it is to kind of let you know whether or not the movie is right for you, if it's a movie that you're going to like based on what I say in this video without going into spoilers. I'm going to talk about how the movie actually is and discuss, kind of give you the idea of what you're going to get, because I think for some people, they're not going to like this movie. I can already tell you that. Even if you enjoyed Black Adam, tonally, this film is very different from Black Adam. It does tend to mirror the first movie. So Shazam Fury of the Gods continues that, kind of hybrid, lighter tone DC, opposite of what Zack Snyder was doing. It's much more comedic. It's much more wacky. If you're a fan of Greek mythology or any kind of mythology, you'll appreciate this film. If you like over the top special effects, wizardry, and huge CGI battles and stuff like that, you're gonna like this movie. Pretty much every comic book movie has this. You can't escape it at this point. And unfortunately, because these movies have been so prevalent for so long now, people are starting to crack. Ant-Man and Quantumania. Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania. I like that movie a lot more than others because others were burnt out on that style. And so if you're burnt out on that sort of light-hearted style and you're looking for something more dark, this might not be the movie you go see, because this movie does have a lot of comedy. This movie does have just complete over-the-top, ridiculous, campy, cheesy moments all throughout. There's lots in this movie that reference other films. Like, for example, the big climax at the end is so insanely over the top, but yet it also has remnants of things from like Batman v Superman, just made it a more wacky tone. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I feel, now that I've seen the film, I feel like when Shazam 1 came out a few years ago, 2019, it was almost like a breath of fresh air, because we had gotten so acclimated with the darker Snyderverse and DC just being more dark. So having something like Shazam come around to kind of balance things out, to offset the darkness, I think timing wise it worked. I think, however, with this movie, that was before the pandemic. This is, of course, after the world's really gone through a lot of, a lot of things have happened to all of us in the past 3-4 years, and especially to DC. I mean, we've seen leadership changes. We've seen changes in direction. We're not really sure where they're going to go. Obviously, James Gunn is one of those writer filmmakers that does lean on his comedy a bit. And this movie does that, but it's a different kind of comedy. This movie does feel more like a Marvel movie. It does feel like, I would say closer to maybe Thor Ragnarok. I wouldn't say Love and Thunder. I'd say Ragnarok, but it's not perfect. The film itself is not perfect. So the basic plot, without going into spoilers, of Shazam, Fury of the Gods, is that Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu play two daughters of Atlas, these demi-goddesses or goddesses that come to Earth seeking the staff from the first film, and it's up to the Shazam team, the Council of Wizards, well, the Council of New Wizards, I guess you can say, the Team Shazam, to, of course, stop them. And away we go with the story. I'm telling you now, yo, if you're going into this, be aware that the movie has a lot of cheesiness. There's a lot of mustache twirlingness to it. There are character arcs. I think the big theme of the film is the growth of Billy Batson. I mean, the movie, everybody gets a little bit of shine, but the movie does tend to focus on the characters of Billy Batson and Freddie Freeman more than anybody else. They are the two leads here, but Billy Batson's sort of evolution into becoming wise and becoming a leader is put to the test here in this film, as well as his supporting cast is also there. They do progress the story, however, and the mid-credit scene is teasing a future, well, I don't even know if we're going to get it now, but basically the movie is cheesy, over the top. The CGI in the finale, I mean, look, some of it looked fine, some of it looked over the top, ridiculous, and kind of stupid. Not gonna lie to you about that. You had sequences here that kind of reminded me of the cave troll scene from the Fellowship of the Ring. There's things like that going on. I feel like the pacing of this one is a little bit off kilter in a way. I enjoyed the pacing, but there were a couple of scenes that by the end I wish were still there, or were in there. That is, to kind of let the movie breathe. I was kind of hoping for a bit more with Freddie and Billy's characters early in the movie. I was hoping for more of that. But once they introduce, I mean, you get the antagonist early on, but once they actually introduce the quote unquote love interest and that sort of high school story picks up, I don't think the movie gave it a chance to marinate enough. And we get right to this big, world ending catastrophic battle. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you get to the second half of the movie, it's just one big, giant special effects show. Again, every superhero movie's like this now. And the formula is a formula for a reason. People are not tired of these movies yet. However, I can see some people getting tired. That being said, I thought everybody played their characters well. Zachary Levi played, adult Shazam or whatever. Asher Angel as Billy Batson did great as well. The younger actors are definitely coming into their own. And alongside these, let's be honest, like these legends. I mean, I don't know if y'all know, but Helen Mirren is an actress who's been doing this for decades and decades and decades. I mean, she's won Academy Awards in the U.S. and the U.K. Like, she's a very revered actress, and here she gets to have a good time and just have some fun. There are some surprises. If you saw my spoiler video from 2021, you won't be surprised. However, if you're going into this movie not knowing anything, there are pleasant surprises. But ultimately, I had two feelings coming out of the film. I enjoyed the movie. It was cute. However, ultimately, it's just another comic book movie. You understand? Like, that's what you're going to get here. Nothing about this movie really stands out to make it different from other similar films. There's not much there. The comedy's there. I mean, we're expecting that, right? However, with DC adopting stuff like the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and the James Gunn direction, again, that's not even like a rarity anymore, like when Shazam 1 came out. So because these things have now become commonplace, it makes this style of film a bit less special. And I do think that some people are going to accuse this movie of being too much like a Marvel film, and that's a very fair criticism. However, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's a one and done. The person who I saw it with was thinking that. I don't know if I really feel that way. I don't know if I really truly feel that way. I think the movie had a couple of really funny moments. Some of the other humor wasn't that funny, but the issue is it's now become commonplace in DC to make movies like this. So are we ever going to get like that darkness? I'm sure we will again, probably in Flash and probably in the Batman sequel. You know, the James Patterson, the Robert Pattinson Batman. I don't know where the hell I got James Patterson from. Robert Pattinson Batman. But overall, I liked this film. I didn't love it. There were things about it I loved. There were things I loved, and it is heartwarming, and there are some powerful scenes, but it really felt like they were checking off boxes with this one. You know what I mean? Like it just really felt like we've seen stuff like this before. And now I'm starting to think that it might be best to maybe adopt a different strategy going forward with how they do their movies. But hey, the formula that Marvel's put together has worked for them and made Marvel the biggest franchise ever, and DC has some of the biggest superheroes ever. So it's difficult to really ask for that much variety. I feel like their animated department really delivers on that more than their live action department. But also, the problem with seeing this movie is now that James Gunn is in charge, how much of this is actually going to stand? How many of these teases in this movie for future films, how many conversational moments, how many powerful moments are going to really matter if they're going to reboot everything? I'm a bit skeptical on that one, but we'll see how it goes down when it goes down. Anyways, thumbs in the middle, slightly leaning up. Again, depends on what you like. Some of y'all are gonna not like this movie. Some of y'all are gonna love it. Some of y'all are probably gonna feel like I felt, where it's like, hey, I had a good time. It wasn't a waste of time, but is it really a movie that I'm gonna watch every day or every 3 weeks? It ain't like, Endgame or Infinity War, or even like Justice League Snyder Cut that I've watched a few times. This one doesn't really have that feeling. That's my honest opinion. With that being said, let me know what you think about Shazam 2, and I'll talk to y'all in the very near future.